Just love looking at those lights, man. So mesmerizing.
So
So
colorful.
pretty. So
Pretty.
colorful, man.
Like all my ex-girlfriends are just the light of my life.
Yeah, we had a lot of talk about that tonight.
Oh, we did.
So far.
Oh, about ex-girlfriends?
Yeah. Hope y'all enjoying the background music so far.
Oh, let me actually fix that so you can hear it.
Yeah, that was my reminder to you. Are those new? Yeah.
Yeah, I just got these.
Bro, like every fucking day you get like a new pair.
Yeah, I love headphones. Like, even when I was in middle school, I used to have a bunch of headphones.
Where'd you get them?
Middle school or these?
No, those.
Actually, this guy in like Northeast Austin was selling them, like super cheap, $145.
Oh, shit.
But when these came out, these are like $400 headphones,
Dang.
and they're really good. They're actually so I got those, right? Those were
The one on our guest's head right now.
those are the XM2s, so the second generation, and these are the third generation. So these are the newer ones. Yeah, but I bought those new, like $400.
They look good on our guest.
Alcalá. How have people like pronounced your last name before?
Alcalá. Alcalá.
Alcalá.
The accent on the second one.
Or how have people said it?
Alcalá. Or Alcalá.
Or if you had like a white substitute in like high school or something. Or did they have those?
Alcalá.
Israel.
Alcalá. Alcalá for the most part, yeah.
It's a good name, man. Israel Alcalá Saucedo Jr.
I haven't done the thing yet, Matt. I didn't do the thing.
What is it? Can I do
just
it?
make sure these are.
Oh, okay. Like you let me push record last week.
Oh yeah,
That was fun.
you gotta do the thing. You do the thing, Matt.
What is it? What's the thing? I'm gonna do it? Fuck yeah, man.
3 times.
All right.
All right, now we're
How's
ready.
that? Yeah. Smack.
Now we're
Smack
good.
that.
You've done that before. Have you done any recording? Any like recording? Like, have you ever messed with studio recording or video recording?
Yeah, studio and mono recording, yeah.
Weren't you going to school for that?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. I thought you.
No, I've learned a few things here and there.
Oh.
I learned a lot of things from Carlton. Carlton
Oh,
has some experience recording and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah.
You're there.
Mhm.
All right, so
Carlton.
we're back.
Right.
So we're back for episode 3, Los Mariachi Sagas, episode 3, season 2. Season 2. We have our first guest of the new season, and it's actually the third member of Trio Chapultepec, who we weren't able to get you on last season, but you're the first guest, and so also with that, you're the first guest on video.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
This is Israel Alcalá
Yes, sir. How's it going, guys?
Yeah.
from Laredo, Texas, right?
Yes, sir.
Born and raised.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Didn't you just come back from Laredo or no?
I did. I just went to Laredo to visit my family, and we went to buy some things over there across in Tamaulipas.
Dang.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of traveling, man.
I do. I drive a lot. I'm always on the road.
Can you guess how many miles you traveled in 2020?
Okay, I'll give you this much. I started with 39,000 in my car, and I think I ended up with almost 109,000 at the end of this year.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, so I'm guessing like 60 to 70,000 miles this year.
Man,
Yeah,
that's a lot, man.
Man.
I'm always driving. Yeah.
So we're here with Israel Alcalá. And so you are, what did you say? You're 26 years old, right?
I'm 26 years old. Yes, sir.
You've played with a lot of people, over years, and a lot of different styles of music, not just mariachi.
Mm-hmm.
The trio. You play some accordion, right?
I play a little bit of accordion, yeah.
So you've done some Tejano gigs, some jazz gigs.
I do jazz, yeah, and saxophone. I did a little bit of that.
Is that what you started off?
I started music back in middle school. I was in the band program. I started 6th grade. Started on clarinet, actually.
Oh,
I went to school, college, later on clarinet. That's how I got into school.
At Texas State?
At Texas A&M Kingsville.
Oh, okay, that's where you
Yeah.
started.
Yeah, so that's
Okay.
where I started like my university.
So were you there the same time as Joe Frank?
No, I was actually there later. Joe Frank's a little bit older than me.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. I don't think we've really talked about Joe Frank much on the podcast.
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah, a couple
We've
times.
talked about him. But
But yeah, he was there on, what was it, trumpet, or what was he doing?
Not too sure.
I don't remember.
I don't remember, man. He
So you started then with in Kingsville,
Mm-hmm.
clarinet. What were you doing, like education?
I was doing education at the time, yeah.
And you decided, nah.
I was there my first semester, and as every college student, some college students it was my first time being out of Laredo ever. Like, you know what I mean? Not ever. Like, I had been to other cities and stuff like that, but not for an extended period of time. So I started, I moved to Kingsville, like, you know how everyone does, like their freshman year, you get a dorm room, do all that stuff. So that was
college experience.
Yeah, whole college experience. I left Laredo, and I was, it was pretty difficult for me, actually.
Were you scared?
I wasn't scared. It was more of a dependence I had on with my family, like my mom would do a lot for me. So, I remember feeling that emptiness, like kind of like, the need of like, oh, my clothes needs to get washed or this and that, and all that stuff.
I don't think it's times, it's not until times like that where you realize how much your parents actually
do for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm really grateful to my parents for all that. But yeah, I was in Kingsville for about 2 semesters, a whole year. Then I returned to Laredo. I did Laredo Community College for a few years. I did a few music classes there, and that's when I decided to move to San Marcos for Texas State.
And you've been in this area, Central Texas, ever since?
I was in San Marcos for about 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's like your kind of like your second home then, huh?
Oh yeah, I love San Marcos.
Yeah.
San Marcos is the best. I've always said it. I've always the best times I've ever had are San Marcos.
Same here, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even live there, but for sure.
When I graduated high school, I went straight to Texas State, and at 18, I moved and in a dorm room and by myself, no parents, nothing. So after about 2 semesters, my freshman year, I failed some classes, messed up, went back to McAllen for a bit. Eventually, I came back, and now we're here.
Now we're here.
Yeah.
But no, I know what that's like when you move like hundreds of miles away.
Oh yeah.
From your home, and you've been in Laredo your whole life.
Yeah.
But you've done well for yourself, even after all that. And so when you were going through, when you went to Kingsville and back to Laredo and Texas, you were doing mariachi at this time.
Yeah, I was. I actually the first professional group I started playing with, semi-professional group where I was making money, was in Laredo. Actually, when I was a junior. I got approached because I had made the region mariachi, and I had got in first chair and vocals, and people, I guess, started noticing I sing and stuff, and they were there was this guy named Javi. He invited me to this group called Mariachi Cascabel, and it was a bunch of high school kids, like the kids that had I guess excelled or whatever. And there was a lot of people that had made the region group, and they were good musicians. But it was just kind of like a ragtag group, like of high school kids that didn't really have repertoire. You know how it is.
Yeah.
And that's the first group I started playing with, and we started gigging like little serenatas here and there. But the first real group I played with was in Kingsville when I got to Texas A&M Kingsville. The first week I got there, No, it's actually during the summer before getting into school.
Oh, okay.
I was there with Victor Figueroa. I don't know if you guys know him.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
He's a teacher at McAllen High School, and yeah, I was with him. He was like a mentor to me when I was starting college and everything. And he talked to this guy named I don't know if this gentleman named John Vela. I know if you guys know him.
Yeah.
John Vela. He writes a lot of the music for. He's also like a mariachi historian. He knows a lot of mariachi history and very smart.
You're with Nuevo Royal?
No Royal. That's the name of his group, and that's where I started professional mariachi in Kingsville.
That group, they keep it kind of big, well, relatively big.
Yeah, it's one of the bigger groups out there. I think one of the three. I think now that are big over there.
Was there a lot of work?
Yeah. We would do like 3 to 6 hours. Yeah, I started with a lot of work since then. And got my, my butt kicked, a few times over there for sure. That's when I started really sitting down with repertoire and really the repertoire that's over there, of course, right? It's very different over here, but the repertoire they had over there and the guitar player. I was playing vihuela at the time because they needed a vihuela player, and the guitar player was the one that was like really getting after me, and like his name is Mario Santiago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He would Sendejo, and he would just really push me.
We always have one of those, man, that are always on you. And
Adolf.
well, before Adolf,
That's
actually,
what-
was
that's what-
this guy right here.
That's when I was I think I was still 17 years old because I graduated high school young. You know what I mean? Like because my birthday fell in between the summer.
That is a weird spot.
Yeah, in that weird spot in the summer. So I graduated at 17, and that's when I joined the group. I was still 17 years old, getting to 18, and yeah, he would
All wide-eyed.
Huh?
Israel coming in, man.
Was Tony Thompson there at the time?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was already gone by then. Was this guy named Ivan, trumpet, violin? He played trumpet, violin, guitarron.
Ivan.
I think, Tovar. He was a short guy, kind of dark.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he was there. I was playing in the armonía section. It was this guy named Isaac, me on vihuela, and Mario on guitar. And then the violins is this older gentleman named Joeli, Brandon, and John Vela on violin. And then his son on trumpet, John Vela Jr.
And then you eventually made your way to Texas State. Was that, I guess, a goal in a way to go to Texas State?
When I graduated, they had mentioned it to me, and I was actually looking at it, but I ended up going to Kingsville because I had gotten a scholarship for music over there because I was really dedicated to band at the time. I was really into band and stuff like that. I had done an audition, and they offered me a scholarship. It was not a huge scholarship, but it was something, so I went over there. Yeah, and I had an audition for Texas State. I think I missed the deadline for Texas State at the time.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's good. You get a scholarship, it pays for your school and everything, so.
Yeah.
We can let's circle back to Texas State. I want to get to where I think, the first time we met.
First time we met. Okay. Well, do we start with Matt or with you?
Well, he asked you, so I think you should.
Well, I don't remember, honestly.
I remember the first time we met was probably at Texas State audition. I'm guessing it was then.
Well, I mean, I auditioned in 2015, the fall of 2015.
Oh, you're right. Maybe it was before, because I was only part of the Texas State Mariachi the 2014.
Yeah,
that was the year
it
before.
was either it would have to been the Halloween party.
Halloween party, you're right.
Yeah,
the one we throw at Joe Frank's.
At your, wasn't it at your place?
Yeah,
Was it?
Yeah. With some 1 year it was Joe Frank's, the other year was mine, but we would do it because it was at the house, and it was really fun.
Yeah, man. Was it Ellis Street?
Ellis Street, yes.
That's where it went down, man.
that
Good
house
parties.
is crazy.
Yeah, good parties.
Yeah, fun times, man.
I just remember seeing Rafa come out like in a costume. Rafa's a big guy, and the police were there.
Oh shit!
And then he was talking to the police all serious, but he was like in a silly ass costume.
I think he was the kid from Up.
Oh,
or that, or one year he was a barrel.
a barrel?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Imagine a barrel talking to the cops, man.
Yeah.
But so it was probably that, and then I remember one time you asked me, and I think we talked about this with Vince in that podcast where I went to go help out escuelas.
Right.
Where you texted me, you messaged me on Facebook, and you're like, "Hey, can you do this? Because I'm stuck." That's when all of a sudden Marcos flooded. You couldn't even get out of their house.
Right. Yeah, I remember
like
that.
where you all lived, it was
It's
like
bad
you
there.
could ride a boat.
Yeah, no, I remember I posted it on Facebook Live like twice, and it wasn't even this. It was 2 different years that it got really flooded there.
Dude,
Yeah, I remember, man. It would get really flooded there, and I remember that day I called you because Tiki was really upset that I just called in like an hour before, or was it like an hour or 2 hours before, or was it earlier? Did I message you earlier?
The plantas were usually what, like at 7?
7.
Probably like 4 something when you messaged me 5.
Then I let him know a little before, but he was still upset. He was just like, "Oh, you need to find somebody, or you know what I mean? Try to find somebody to cover."
Call the Coast Guard. Some shit.
Call the Coast Guard. Tell him to come play vihuela. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah,
I mean, Vince could have handled it on his own.
yeah, he could have. He did that many times. You know what I mean? As well as just it would sometimes just be me and him too. I think we wouldn't have the full armonia sometimes.
Yeah.
But I remember calling you that day. I remember I was like, oh, let me call because nobody was, you know what I mean? Like the people that I knew, even because I had never played with you before, I don't think so.
No.
And that's why I was like, oh, I didn't know, but like I knew you played vihuela, right? Like, I think you had posted it before.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I called you and I was like, hey, Alexis, like, can you go? And you were like, yeah, sure, send me the address. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, man.
At that time, I didn't really know anybody. I mean, that was my freshman year, first semester. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't really playing with anybody. And then it was a Friday. You called me. I was like, yeah, I go. That's when I still had that cheap as vihuela. It was like a Lucida. I had metal frets. Mm-hmm. It was bad. And then I go. And at this time, I didn't know much. And you guys started off with like Corrido Monterrey. And I'm like,
yeah,
I didn't know half the song. And now thinking back what y'all played, I'm like, I know all those songs.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, when I started, I didn't know anything. So I remember that was like basically I think the first interaction that we had. And how did you meet Israel? You remember that?
How did I meet? It was definitely at a gig. I believe so. It wasn't at Texas State. Like he said, he already left before we were there. I think it was at a gig. No, it was not. I think it was a rehearsal. A rehearsal because Rafa one day texted me. He said, hey, I'm making a group. And I had heard about Israel. No, I always hear about him because I was all the time hanging around Alicia and who else was it? I guess that was it.
Juan? Maybe
Juan, I don't think was in the picture yet.
Oh, okay.
He was in the picture the next semester. But anyways, Rafa had texted me that he was making a group. And he asked me to be a part of it. And our first rehearsal, he's like, hey, I'm just going to, or I think it was like the second rehearsal that Israel came, just to help us out, like learn some rep. He just came in and helped us out, learn some. He taught us.
I
some
remember.
songs. Yeah,
I remember. We were doing.
Might have been one by Pepe or something. Oh yeah. There you go.
Yeah, we were doing
De qué manera te olvido. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time I met him, and I was like, hey, this guy sings really good. But yeah, that was the first time, and after that, I would run into him every now and then, just hanging around that crowd. Well, because I believed you. Did you live either down the? You were still at the house, right?
I was still at the house. Yeah, I was living with Joe Frank and Juan at the time.
And Rafa had just gotten this house, was renting it out, I guess, at close to Casa Maria.
Armstrong.
On Armstrong Street. Yeah.
That little tiny house?
Tiny greenhouse. Yeah.
Funny story about that, dude. That house. You eventually moved in there and everything.
Yeah, I was there for a little bit.
Funny story. My girlfriend, one of her best friends, actually lives in that house.
Oh, wow.
And it's funny because she was like, hey, I'm going to go pick something up at this girl's house real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go? And I was like, sure. We went, and I was like, this house, so many memories in it, man. I told her, I was like, man, my good friends lived in there. I threw up exactly in that spot right there. It's still there. No, but Good times in that place, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, that was the first time I met Israel, and gigs after that, and he eventually hired me.
yeah, I remember that. I remember I had met you. Now that you mention it, I remember meeting you there.
Yeah.
It was you and I don't know who was on bass.
Yeah, I think it was Adrian who decided he wanted to do bass, because he was his primary, I guess, would be vihuela.
Yeah, I think so. It was when Rafa was starting his group, Rayos del Sol. Yeah, at the time that when he had that little project going.
Yeah, and I mean that group was good. You got to learn a lot actually, and that kind of started a lot of things after that.
Right.
For me, gigging wise, so
that's great. Anywhere you can learn something is always good.
Mm-hmm. And you came in kind of as more of a clinician. Yeah. You came in and helped us out, everybody.
Yeah, Rafa had asked me. He was like, "Hey, if you want to stop by the rehearsal, just to go over some things, And I take it as I don't really take it as much as a clinician. I take it more as practice for myself too, because a lot of these songs you have to replay them and just really dig them under your finger, because sometimes you don't even know what chords you're playing. Like sometimes, honestly, my brain just goes on
autopilot.
Autopilot, and my fingers just go where they need to go already, because it's kind of like you play the song so much.
It's been so many times that you're doing it, but that's one thing, and we'll get into it later, I guess. But we played together, Armonía, in your group, Los Trovadores, and I mean, you taught me how to study, how to study songs and sit down and take the recording out.
Yeah.
So
good times. Yeah, good times. It was really fun. I really like practicing. You know that. I mean, we like practicing. I'm sure you guys enjoy it in some extent too. Yeah,
that's where I learned it. But
yeah,
I remember that day
for sure.
Yeah, I think you were the one who showed me how to play Bésame Mucho. I remember one time I went to your place. It was the summer of 2016.
You did? Yeah, we practiced together one time.
Yeah. We went over some songs. Bésame Mucho was one. I think Como han pasado los años.
Yeah.
Was another. And there is when you were kind of telling me about the times that you've learned from Adolfo, a guitar player, how he would
Estrada.
Yeah, Estrada.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he was telling you about the guitarrón and the vihuela, how they should fit together.
Yeah, we had kind of like you said, he would come in sometimes with espuelas and he would clinic us because he was good friends with Carlos Gutierrez, El Chunks. Call him Chunks. He would come in and we would go to Chunks' apartment in the second floor, and we would just it would just be me, him, Vincent, and Chunks, and we would just do armonía stuff, just practice real armonía stuff, and just try to get a groove going, and because armonía is it's a real heart of the whole mariachi. Like if you have a good armonía section, your mariachi will sound good, for the most part. With the singer or stuff like that, because sometimes you can have melodies that don't really know what's going on, but if you have a solid foundation, you can get through mostly anything.
Not a bad person to learn from there, Adolfo.
Yeah, he's a great teacher and stuff like that. He even on vihuela, he would show me a lot of stuff. Eventually I started getting a few lessons with Ismael Alatorre too. And he showed me good vihuela player. He would show me a few things here and there, but pick up things from everyone, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just because people have a name and stuff like that, it doesn't mean that you can't learn from other people that don't have a name, because there's a lot of people that don't get mentioned, you know what I mean? And they're really talented musicians.
That's what you mean, man.
Mm-hmm. All right. So when did mariachi start in middle school over in Laredo, or was it until high school?
I started till high school. I actually started with I got into mariachi my freshman year. I didn't really want to, but it was because I was such a band player. I loved classical, and I would always be practicing my etudes, and that's what you know what I mean? But I thank God for that now, because that really helped me with my reading and stuff like that, because a lot of people don't know how to read when mariachi musicians. It's hard because
No, yeah.
You know, they didn't get that experience with band and metronomes and conducting and all that stuff. You know, I went through that my whole middle school and high school career.
Isn't one of those people like Vince?
Yeah, Vince.
He doesn't read.
Yeah, Vince. He started. He just recently started reading, and because he's a great musician and stuff like that. And I've learned a lot from Vince as well. You know what I mean? Him not like having those certain skills, but I've learned a lot from him because he knows he knows a lot too.
He's awesome, dude. He's freaking amazing.
Yeah, he's a great musician, and like respects to him, and he's my brother. You know, and we play together, and it's great.
But that goes to show, like, not everybody reads.
Not everyone
Like
reads, but it's a very useful skill.
Yeah.
It's a very useful skill whenever you start getting into more things like jazz or salsa, or start getting into other things, because you have to start reading time signatures and start, you know, like feeling these grooves and reading rhythms and all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I found it creates a much better foundation.
Yeah.
I mean, I started in classical guitar, and the only reason I did mariachi is because I knew chords, and the director who taught the classical guitar classes was also the mariachi director, and he's like, "Hey, come do mariachi." I was like, nah. And it wasn't until like the middle of my freshman year where I started going practices. I was like, okay, let's do this. But it surprised me though, with even now, musicians that I meet now doing gigs and stuff where let's say we're going over a song or show them sheet music and they have no idea what key it is, even though it's like right on the paper, what note. They can't, they don't do it. Yeah. And I'm just kind of like in awe, or shock. I'm like, how did you not know this? But I mean, mariachi, it's something where it was just kind of shown to you. Well, I mean, with those players, especially those players that grew up playing it, you know, from their family.
It's a lyrical way of learning. You know what I mean? It's not a book, a textbook way of learning. I don't diminish it either, because I mean, it's a really good way of training your ear, especially, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
When somebody's singing and you can recognize like the bass note. Okay, I'm playing an A. I can be in probably, you know, I'm in re or I'm in la. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I'm like, you know, whatever I'm basing is usually, you know, if you can get those distinctive notes quickly, then you can catch on to whatever they're playing, you know.
But so, and you did it in high school. So you said you made Regent with your voice. So was that something, was that more of a natural thing? You could always sing? You always had an ear for it?
Yeah. Well, I started singing my freshman year. I started singing my freshman year in high school, and I started guitar. Going back to your original question of when I started mariachi, it was during high school. I started beginner guitar class, and I joined because my friends were there. You know how with your friends you're like, okay, I want to go join that class, whatever. Yeah. So I go join that class, and I wasn't really into it. I was kind of just like going by, breezing through like the stuff they were teaching us. You know, it was basically they were just teaching us re, you know, you know, stuff like basics. That, just the basics. And yeah, like I was like, oh, it's okay, whatever. Then one time they got everyone together, all the beginners. We didn't have violins, so we had flutes. They were reading violin music because they're also in C major. They're also in C major, so they could read the violin parts and stuff like that. So they would bring in the flutes, they bring in the trumpets and the armonía. So this one time we did el rey, and they were like, and I kind of knew it, but like I kind of didn't, because I heard somebody sing it, and they were like, échale, whatever, right? And I go and I sing it, but I sang it all. I'm pretty sure it was rough, but I sang it, you know what I mean? And I sang it in pitch, so it was kind of like the director was like, hey, you sing and you're not like you're not crying and or you know, like scared. you know how directors they pick up anyone that's not shy to do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was shy, but I did it, you know. So I did it, and then the next day he calls me into his office and he's like, hey, I want to put you in the junior varsity group. And I was like it's my freshman year. He's like, I'm gonna put you in the junior varsity group because I want you to sing. And I was just like, okay. And I was like, on guitar, and he's like, no, on flute.
Oh,
so he was like, because you play clarinet, right? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, oh, but you can play flute. Somebody will teach you flute. And I was like, okay. So this girl named Amanda, she's a senior. She took me to the color guard room and started teaching me in the mornings.
Dang,
I would have lessons with her like 7:30 to 8:15 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
I have to get there early to school, and she would start teaching me flute.
Uh-huh.
So I started learning flute, and I joined the university group my freshman year, and the first song I sang was El Carretero.
Oh hell yeah, that's a hell of a song.
Yeah.
It's the first one to sing.
Not an easy one to sing too.
Yeah, I sang first on Carretero because I had a really high pitched voice.
Yeah. You're right.
It was like I think I said I hadn't gone through puberty completely yet. You know, it's hilarious when I go back to. There's some YouTube videos, but
I've seen one. And you sang actually a badass song by Mariachi Cobre. I've seen it. Was it Volar?
That's when I started getting my voice in.
And
a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Dude, even then, bro, like you killed it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, your voice is. I don't know what it is. It's just natural, I guess.
Thank you.
To me, man.
Yeah.
You kind of sound. You can hear like the voice that you have now. You can hear it back then too. So
thanks, man. Yeah.
pretty sure that's why it was like, yeah, I'm moving you up.
Yeah, for sure.
How was your Spanish at that time though?
Better. My Spanish was really bad my 4th grade year because I had just moved. So I wasn't born and raised actually in Laredo. Most of my life is in Laredo though, as far as I can remember. But I used to live in Amarillo, Texas.
Oh,
That's like way up north. So my accent was really like that. You know, it was real country accent, and I didn't know Spanish. So I learned Spanish my 3rd grade year, going to my 4th grade year, moving to Laredo. Because my mom was like, everyone speaks Spanish in Laredo, you know? So you need to start learning Spanish here. Okay, whatever. So I started speaking Spanish, but like mucho. And then eventually my Spanish is decent now.
And you just started just speaking it.
Just speaking it at home. My mom would only speak to us in Spanish, even though she knew English. And my dad too.
So your mom should have done.
Yeah, she tried. Apparently, I didn't like. I just kept going back to English apparently because of school, you know. They talk to you in English, so she just gave up.
And it was, I mean, like in Laredo, I had an advantage just because everyone speaks Spanish. Even in school. Like the bully kids, like, ¿qué onda, güey? Or, you know, like they would be like.
They're telling you, give me your lunch money, but in Spanish. They're
they're bullying me in Spanish.
Yeah. Even the popular kids spoke Spanish.
Yeah, even the popular kids spoke Spanish.
McDonald's, Burger King.
I mean, people spoke Spanish at my high school too, or even my middle school. But I mean, no, I mean everything though. Like elementary school, they always spoke Spanish. That's when my mom was trying to teach me. Apparently, she just gave up on me.
So were you in choir at this time also, or
never? I never did choir.
You never did choir?
Dang. I never did choir. I just Oh, you know what helped me a lot with pitches and stuff like that, though? My 8th grade year, I started taking things out by ear. Like cumbias on clarinet. Because we would have, like, parade or, like... Oh, I did the talent show my 8th grade year. And my friends were like, oh, we should play some cumbias and stuff like that. And I did La Cumbia Sabanera. Yeah, that one, I would do it. I did it at the talent show, and all the cheerleaders were dancing. Everyone was dancing, and there was this kid with super long hair named Adrian playing the Guido. And we were just, everyone was dancing, even the teachers and stuff like that. They were like, dang, cumbias. It's cool, you know? Yeah. Because everyone else was doing like Green Day. But all bad, you know? Like, you know how it is.
Did you win?
Huh?
Did you win?
We didn't have like a contest. It was just like everyone would just perform.
Oh, okay. Cool, man.
They should have done the first place.
Yeah.
But so you say you got first chair your junior year?
Yeah, I made it since my freshman year. I got 3rd chair my freshman year in Region Mariachi. And then sophomore I did an audition because I was really focused on my clarinet stuff. And it was kind of like the same dates. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna audition. And then junior year audition, I always got first. And then my senior year, I auditioned and I started laughing during one of the songs because I forgot I was like, oh shoot, I forgot the lyrics or whatever. And I got 3rd though. I still made it.
But do you think that impacted
my results? Oh yeah, definitely. You did? Yeah, because I started laughing. I was like, It was Me gusta el olor que tiene la mañana.
Oh, cool, man.
And I forgot the lyrics there. And I was like, shit. You know, like, excuse my language, but yeah, I was like, dang.
That's funny.
I had forgotten the lyrics. I was like, I practiced this song so much, but God, I just forget them. And but I had still got in third chair. I was very happy with it.
Were your auditions blind? Like for us in the Valley, we had region, and the judges were all like high school mariachi directors in that region, but they were like they would sit in a table, right, and in a chair, and then they would put this big board, and then we would play, and they'll just give us a number. So we couldn't talk, we couldn't introduce ourselves, we couldn't say anything. We would just play what's on there and then leave. Is that how it was like?
It was the same. Yeah. It was a blind audition. They wouldn't see you, but like they had a microphone, and they had a speaker, so they could hear you clearly while you were doing it with the pista. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it is a blind audition, but it's also still the directors, and I don't know if you've noticed this when you've taught like students before in clinics and stuff, you can tell what students playing. Yeah, who it is by certain sound, the way they strum.
Oh yeah, I've actually judged for region a couple of times, for region mariachi and like region with clarinet too. But yeah, it's you can tell sometimes when it's your students.
Yeah, and you're just like 10.
Yeah, no, you try to be fair. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because you want people to be fair with you, and you know.
But are there people that aren't fair, or like?
I think so. We think so. Yeah. Just like there's people that are fair.
That's that corruption, man.
So was the Mariachi Vargas extravaganza the high school you went to? Would you guys go to it?
No. So my mariachi program in high school was not it wasn't like up there at all. So we never, it wasn't even a thing. Like the best thing that we would go to was I came from a program that wasn't structured. You know, we only had flutes. So it was a very unstructured mariachi because we didn't have a class either.
Okay.
So we would have to meet in the mornings to rehearse.
It was more of a club type of thing.
It was a club that you would show up to, and you know what I mean? Which is, it's crazy because now it's like my whole life. You know, it's like what I do, like for the most part, mariachi. And I never say I'm a mariachi for the most part. I'd like to not say that because I like to consider myself a musician more than anything now because I love music in general. I love every kind of music. But mariachi is really like something that made me a full-time musician, you know, because mariachi, you know how mariachi gigs are. They're like that in La Lo Caliente, and there's a lot of money to be made in mariachi.
Yeah, but a mariachi player is a musician, right?
Yeah. I consider mariachi music. Everyone that plays a musical instrument, you know what I mean, and puts a little bit of time into it, I consider musicians.
Okay.
You know, but like I like a full all-around musician. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what I.
That's like. True. How many instruments do you play?
I play a few. I mean, like that. I would say like wind. I'm dominant maybe like on saxophone for sure. That's my. I love saxophone. I changed to saxophone because it's an easy transition between clarinet and saxophone.
Which saxophone?
Alto sax.
Alto. Oh,
I love alto.
You wanted to show off.
Yeah, I love alto. Alto's always been a. I started alto saxophone in Laredo Community College. That's actually where I got into it because, so I was never gonna really play jazz. But I remember my professor, his name was Ruben Vargas, and he was amazing musician. He played everything. Like he played requinto. He played just everything. He could play everything. Violin, saxophone, all the things I'm trying to play. Like he could play them, like, and he was really good. And he told me, he was like, "Hey, have you ever played in a jazz band?" Because he needed musicians, and he knew I played clarinet. And I was like, "No." I was like, "Is there clarinet in jazz?" He was like, "Can you play sax?" And I was like, "I never tried." He was like, "Here." He gave me a saxophone, like that day. He's just like, "Here, take it home, go practice." And he's like, come to the class tomorrow at 2:00. So I went home. I got the saxophone. I started like positioning my embouchure to like start getting used to the amount of air I needed to push into the instrument. And I started reading saxophone music because saxophone is in the key of E flat.
Oh,
so you have to you have to be able to read like, you know, an E flat. So Yeah, I started saxophone then, and the first day he gave us music. We played what is it the Spain. Bum, 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 ba-da-da. We started playing all that all that jazz stuff, and I was like, that's when I got introduced to jazz band and stuff, and I was like, dude, this stuff is cool.
Jazz band is badass.
Yeah, man. Jazz band is
yes.
it's something different for mariachi because I was in love with mariachi at that time. I was like, yes, mariachi Vargas, sones, and all that stuff. I was already getting into it, and then I did jazz, and I was like, this is a whole nother vibe, but it's super cool.
Mm-hmm. It is cool, man. I remember watching the jazz band at Texas State.
Oh, they're monsters.
They're badass, man.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a cool little thing.
Or when you started learning these other genres, other instruments, did you ever look back at mariachi and be like, oh, okay, this is making more musical sense? Mariachi itself.
So for the most part, for jazz, I read a lot. I read a lot of sheet music, and that's where I'm going back to middle school and high school. It helped me a lot because in jazz band I was reading sax music and I was reading the music and stuff like that, and it was really a lot easier and stuff like that. I wasn't really thinking about chords and stuff like that because I never really got into soloing, because soloing is it's just another thing, like, you know what I mean? Taking a solo and you have to improvise over chords, so you have to think, okay, that chord isn't. Oh, so we're like we're playing an A flat, right? Or even going easier, G, the G major scale. How many sharp do we have? One sharp, right? We have, and so I was just like, I would have to transpose it to E flat. So now there's a different amount of sharps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Now you have to think about all those sharps in that. So it's a whole thing. It's really it's difficult.
Yeah,
it's tough. So yeah, man.
I'm trying to study that right now, man. I'm like, I can't get it. I gotta read back what.
yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand this Chinese.
I was so lucky to take AP Music Theory in high school, but I actually have a teacher, and even though most of us didn't like her, we learned music theory. It wasn't like, I know some people took music theory in high school and they're like, oh, we just watched videos, we didn't do anything. But with her, it was a year long, and our final project for the year was like, we had to arrange an original piece. And it had to be at least like 3 parts. So you had to learn your stuff.
Yeah. That's good though. It forces you to learn it. Now you use it.
Yeah.
So
I wish I would have stuck with it. Nah, I don't. But
yeah, it just takes constant practice, constant, like, like I said, like, de qué manera te olvido, like, even that. I mean, and that's just like chords that you just need to practice it so you can stay under your fingers. Mm-hmm. Being able to play in any key, the G, there's G, you know what I mean? A flat. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, wow.
So now you can play in any key,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you know your scales and you start playing. Actually, Vince really got me into doing that. Like, I don't know, you hear him and he's always playing scales and stuff like that. So it's really important, and not just him. I got a lot of influence from Robert Casillas too. I don't know if you guys know Robert Casillas.
Yeah.
He's a great musician.
Yeah.
Very talented musician, and just looking at people like that and just going with it,
That's a funny story. I mean, I think everybody has a funny story about Robert. He's a funny guy. But the way he talks, he squints his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But we were at Texas State one time, and we were in the music building. I think it was like one of his last semesters, and we're just sitting down, and I was just sitting in the lobby, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, what are you up to?" And I'm like, "None." And he's like, "You want to learn?" And I was like, learn what? He's like, just learn something. I was like, okay. So we start going over motivos, but like in every key, and how all the chords are kind of related, or why they go into each one. And it was a good like 40 minutes, and I mean it was good, and he knew what he was talking about and stuff. But after, I was like, man, I gotta go. Yeah. And then he can talk about that stuff for hours.
You can. I mean, like, it's fun. Like when you start like really like understanding it and stuff, it's really fun to talk about it, and even like even more like executing it, on an instrument. But yeah.
So did you ever want to do something else? Was music just always from, I guess, in the beginning you were like, I'm going to do music. You never thought about math or teacher or engineer or something?
My middle school, and when I was in middle school, I wanted to be an architect because I always like buildings and stuff like that. But it's just like little things that you want to be like in middle school. You want to be certain. You want to be this. You want to do that. But once I started seeing that I was passionate about music, I've wanted to do music since. I said if I wasn't doing music, I'd probably get into law enforcement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where do you feel that your I guess your music career kind of at what point were you like, okay, this is going to be something not only am I going to do the rest of my life, but that I can thrive in and, be successful or make money or kind of have a name for myself one day?
That's a good question. Probably when I started playing in San Antonio, I was like, I just wanted to get better. Like since I started my first rehearsal with Mariachi Sagas de Plata, that's with Tiki's group at the time, and Chunks was in it, and Vince, and that's when I started learning with them. I was learning a lot. I learned a lot of songs from Vince and a lot of just mariachi things. You know what I mean? Because San Antonio is like the threshold of mariachi. I feel like in I wouldn't say all Texas, because a lot of Texas has really strong mariachis. In the Valley, they have their strong points. You know what I mean? And I know those things because I've been there. You know what I mean? I've been in the Valley for a while. I was playing with Aslan, and I understand what they do over there and what's going on here in Central Texas. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. But mariachi, lo que es mariachi, like San Antonio has been like the best for me, like because they play like real mariachi music there. They ask for stuff like Huapango de Moncayo. They ask for like a bunch of mariachi songs, you know what I mean, that are mariachi. And it's not like, because here in Austin there's a lot of repertorio, but it's a lot of banda repertorio. It's a lot of stuff like that, which is, hey, you have to learn it. It's your we're here, we have to play. We're playing here, we have to learn the repertoire.
That's true.
You know what I mean? You can't be like, oh, I don't play banda music, I don't play this. You have to.
Yeah, you
have to. I mean, that's part of being a musician. So
it's evolving into, that's what people are asking for now.
Mm-hmm. You have to adapt to the region you're in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And play it well. Why can't you play? I think playing cumbias like chingon is just as chingon as playing a good song. But play it good. Like échale ganas and play the heck out of the cumbia. Because you're a mariachi and you're a musician. Like play it good.
That's funny how you say that about San Antonio though. Recently, was it about 2 months ago? Maybe I went and played in San Antonio, and I did notice the difference because I haven't been there actually. Gig there since when you would take us to go gig there and go talon and stuff. I haven't been there in a while, and so playing with some of the cats there, Perro and
Chris,
and Robert, violin player, was
Guardiola,
played with him and Elliot just and a couple other people. I just realized how different the rep was there compared to playing in Austin all this time. I'm like, man, I forgot all these songs.
Yeah, you just have to get back on the grind, huh? Like it's cool. Mm-hmm. It's cool. But like, when people come from San Antonio, they're like, oh shoot, like I don't know you guys play all these songs too. I was like, it's a lot of repertoire here in Austin too. It's a lot of corridos, it's a lot of banda, it's a lot of Sanchez. It's a lot of stuff you have to learn, like I learned even with los compañeros que tengo ahorita, with the guys I play with this Mariachi Capital. I play with Alex, Paul, Uribe, and Adrian Ariola. He's from Monterrey.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of knowledge of music per se, like music theory and stuff like that, but he knows a lot of songs. So it's like, and it's respectful because I mean, like I was like, it takes a lot to learn a lot of songs to memorize.
And he's young
things.
too, right?
Yeah, he's 20 years old. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I would say like he knows as many songs as me, or he knows more. Like, and I'm just like, hey, I learned songs from him. He's like, oh, you know that one? I was like, yeah. He'll learn a song from me. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. And I'm just like, that's cool. You know,
That's what it's about, man.
that's what it's about.
The rep is always funny. Yeah, you go to San Antonio and they have the kind of like that old school, or sones or those old boleros. And then I remember when I went back to the Valley this past spring, one of the first gigs I did, we were playing, I think it was like a wedding, quinceañera or something, and they wanted us to walk in with Flor de Capomo.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're asking me because everybody else is still getting ready, and they're like, "Can y'all do that one?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then I told the group, and they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we're in the Valley now, norteños," and
Yeah.
it's so different. You're just expected to, or they just know the song because that's the songs people ask for, and you go to other places, even like here in Austin, like Flor de Capomo is not like Relámpago probably wouldn't do that.
No, they definitely
wouldn't know
wouldn't.
that.
Yeah. It'd be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. And I'm like, that's just cajon in the Valley. Like, you should just know it.
Yeah.
The corriditos, yeah, man, corridos, banda, all that stuff, yeah. It's like I said, you're not gonna know everything because if you don't listen to the music, especially because I know for a fact, for me, the things I listen to the most are mariachi, salsa, and jazz. Like that's my stuff. I love that. Or Intocable, or I'll listen to Duelo. I listen to a lot of stuff, but really, I don't listen to a lot of corridos, I guess. I listen to some corridos. I like Los Cadetes de Linares, and they have a lot of corridos and stuff like that, but I don't go back to like Beto Quintanilla and stuff like that. I don't really listen to his music just because I it's not my favorite music, you know what I mean?
Well, that's okay, man.
But like, you know what I mean? So, but if you have to learn a song, you have to learn it, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so you've played all over Texas, and most recently you went to California. Or not most recently, but you went to California
Recently, I guess, yeah, like a few months ago. I went in September, I think, to California, and I went to gig over there, and I gigged in LA. I did 2 hours on Friday and 6 hours on Saturday. 2 hours on guitar on Friday in like downtown LA, which was cool, and then 6 hours out in the Valley and around LA.
Was the pay still the same though?
I got paid $70 an hour on Saturday, and then I got paid $60 for the hour on Friday. I got $120. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
nice, but still not enough for LA living.
Yeah, but they play. I think it was a slow weekend over there for them.
Oh,
yeah, that's a slow weekend because I know they play around like 10, 11, 12 hours every every Saturday. Yeah, and then Sundays they have booked too. They have their Sunday booked, but my flight was already coming back Sunday.
How different was the rep there?
It was different. They had their arrangements they played and stuff like that, but it wasn't like, it was different but not too different. It wasn't crazy, something that you couldn't follow and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
But how were the musicians themselves? I mean, did they kind of carry themselves a different way? Did they just have a different kind of vibe?
You know what? Like, I guess because so on Friday I played with these guys. Jose Luis was a owner of that group, and there was some of the violin players. It was like two violin players from Los Reyes. Did you guys know Los Reyes?
Yes.
They're a big group in Los Angeles. And it was two of them, great violinists. You know what I mean? Like they play super good, and that one was more like a chamba. Like people just showed up, and it's like, okay, well, let's get this chamba done. You know what I mean, kind of thing. And we did the chamba, sale. Nice to meet you, whatever. Like, I'm from Texas, you know, all this stuff. You just try to make contacts, make people, you know. That's what I went out there kind of to do. And then that next day, I played with Mariachi Arcoiris. They're like an LGBTQ or what is it?
Yeah. That's a long name, man.
Yeah. But they stand for that, and you know, all for it, because he asked me, he was like, "Hey, do you play bass?" And I was like, "I can, if you need me to," you know what I mean? He was just like, he's like, "Yeah, like we need a bass player for tomorrow. It would be great if you came and played bass." He's like, "Before you play, like we want to tell you, like, you know, we stand for this, and this is what we do, and I hope you don't feel uncomfortable with that." And I was like, "No, not at all." You know what I mean? Like, what I'm thinking is that as long as you pay me well, and you know what I mean, and there's respect, I don't have a problem. You know what I mean? Because I support Love is Love and all that stuff. You know, it's great.
Yeah, and they're musicians too.
And they're
man.
musicians. And and surprisingly,
Yeah.
I thought they were really good. I thought
Yeah.
they played really well because like their violin parts were all together, you know, and in Silonuense, and it was like, hey, they're a rehearsed group. You know what I mean?
man.
I was like, they're an organized group and they sound well. I mean, they sound good. You know what I mean? Everyone has their strong points and stuff like that, you know. But like, it was really cool.
Well, it's cool how you got around like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
LA. I've
Making-
never gigged in LA. We played there once.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, with
it's good times.
with
Joe Frank, man, with Joe
Cielito
Frank.
Lindo.
Yeah, Joe Frank was my roommate for the longest time. He's a great guy. I still
Yeah,
talk
he's
to him.
awesome.
I recently saw him.
Really?
We went to Irabucanero.
How's he doing, man? I
He's
haven't seen
good.
him.
He's good. He's doing real estate now, and
I saw that.
he's doing well. That's good. That's good for him.
I miss that guy.
He doesn't play anymore.
He plays here and there,
Oh, that's
but
good.
he's right now he's focusing a lot of on his business,
on his craft.
on his craft. Yeah, that's good.
That's what it's about, man. We
Yeah,
gotta
because
focus
he
on
had
the
been
craft.
doing Metalachi for a long time.
Yeah.
It's cool, like knowing all these people. You know what I mean? Like he was my roommate for a long time, and he's doing Metalachi, and
Mhm.
all my friends usually end up doing something. You know, that's cool.
Wait, you're one of them, man. I
Yeah.
mean, you traveled all over the fucking place.
We just recently, most recently, the thing was we did a CD in Houston. It was Carlton, Vincent, and I.
Uh-huh.
And it was a great experience. We had so much fun. We had rehearsals over there, and we got to stay at the Hyatt, and they had us posted up at the Hyatt, and we got to rehearse with this singer named Cecilia Duarte. She's one of the singers from the Houston Grand Opera. She sings beautifully. She's such a great singer. And her husband Jesus recorded congos and some other percussion instruments on the album, and it was really cool. It was a trio album. Vince did some requinto, played vihuela and guitar for the most part, and Carlton did bass and violin on one of the songs I arranged for the CD.
That's badass.
Yeah,
man.
I got to arrange a song for the CD. Vincent did a few, and Carlton did a song too.
Oh yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. So some of those songs that you hear on the CD are gonna be our arrangements for the trio, and I'm very proud of them. I think they all came out really, really, really nice.
We all are badass musicians, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. But you know what I mean? Like it was just like the studio was beautiful. Like it was such a great studio. The mics we were singing on super expensive. I was singing on an $8,000 mic. Vincent was singing like on a $2,000 mic. Carlton was like on a $6,000 mic. We had a lot of expensive equipment, but the best thing was we had a producer there, Blanton, and he was they won a Grammy like last year with the album they submitted. So I don't know, who knows? Like, you know, with this album, hopefully it goes somewhere. And if it doesn't, it was just such a badass experience to do that.
It is, man. Sad they didn't. Were they supposed to do the Houston Opera this year?
No, we were gonna do the Arizona Opera. We're gonna get posted up in Arizona from November to December. So I would say, you know what, like that was going back to that question you said earlier. When did you know that kind of your music career is kicking off? I guess the Houston Opera really gave us a lot of opportunity because we're doing the Arizona Opera this upcoming year, and then we're doing the Houston Grand Opera the year after again.
So y'all are locked in, man.
Yeah, we're locked in with contracts.
Yeah.
And we just did the CD with that singer, you know, with Cecilia. And the CD's name is Reencuentros. So I know there's a few reasons she called it that. But one of the reasons is a lot of the songs we're doing are from like Puerto Rico and other regions of South America. We're doing Fina Stampa. We're doing really nice arrangement to it, and we're doing other songs that are gonna be really cool that you guys are gonna hear on that.
That's badass, man. I mean, good. Congrats to you guys for getting locked into that, man. Because like I said, you guys are super awesome musicians, and I'm pretty sure that they saw that because they don't. Do they usually have like a group locked in like that, like they did you guys?
No, so we had talked about it after the thing because we would have like get-togethers or like parties in Houston when we were there, like this past year.
Yeah,
and we would have jam sessions, you know, like carnitas asadas and stuff like that. You take out your instruments and they took out the bongos and everyone would start singing. You know, it's Christmas time and we're all doing songs and we did a song. I think it was Poquita Fe.
Oh yeah,
Poquita Fe, we did it, and we were like, oh, and she said, she's like, I want you guys so we can record a CD. And it was kind of like, oh, you know how like people say stuff and it's like it doesn't happen and stuff like that. But like a few months later, she called Vincent, and she was like, hey, like the CD's on, I want to do it, whatever. So she ended up getting money for it, and I think she raised about $18,000 or $15,000, something like that, and the CD kicked off. Mm-hmm.
That's good. I'm sorry, man. Well, y'all got that opportunity from the Houston Opera.
Mm-hmm.
Then, why don't you talk about that, man? I mean,
Houston Opera, great experience. It was really exciting. We had auditioned in Houston. Nerve-wracking because I had seen it and I had been like, oh yeah, that's cool. That'd be cool to do. And Vanessa Alonso, one of the singers that's actually like in the opera, was that did that same opera, Milagro del Recuerdo. That's the name of the opera we did. And she had tagged me on it, like to go audition because they were looking for mariachi singles. And then we were like, oh, you can audition as a group. So Vincent got me and Carlton together, and we were like, hey, let's go do it. And we auditioned. We had practiced a little bit before, went to audition, and yeah, they got us. Javier Martinez, the son of Pepe Martinez, was actually judging. He was one of the judges.
That's crazy.
So we walked in, and he was like, hey, he's like, do your songs. We did our songs, and then he was like, can you guys do Malagueña in 3-part harmony? And we're like, okay, let's do it. And so we did it. We hadn't even practiced it, and we just kind of just did it. It was like, oh, you want to take first? I'll take second. Vince takes third, whatever. And we ended up doing that. And
easy money.
Easy, yeah. And then well, I didn't know what to expect from it, but a few hours later they told us like we had gotten the part, and that's when we were driving to Albuquerque. I had competed with Alicia's group that year.
Yeah, I remember that you guys gave me a ride.
I did. Yeah, we did.
Or that later that week, I think.
Yeah, man, that was a cool. It was fun at Albuquerque.
Then you go win first place, beat Texas State. It was a great day for you.
Yeah, it was actually really cool. I remember talking to Alicia about it. She wanted me to go, and she was like, "Oh, but it's just enrolled in school and stuff like that." And I was like, "Okay." So I enrolled in school, and basically for that, and I had taken like some other class or whatever, right? But it was easy. And yeah. And then, but yeah, I went and it was cool. The rehearsals they had were cool, and we just went and did that thing, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a quick funny story about Javier Martinez. I've played with him before in Houston, and it was a big group though, because we had to get like 18. It was probably like the 13 piece together, and I was on guitar. But I switched with the vihuela player. He wanted me to play vihuela. I don't know. Anyways, we were it was a 3-hour gig, so we were kind of like just running out of stuff to do. Yeah. And I suggested, I was like, hey, let's do Viva Veracruz or whatever. And he looks at me and he's like, are you gonna sing it? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, you should. And that was it. Yeah, he was, and I was like, yeah,
he's cool. He was really fun. Like he wasn't like a super serious like entity with us. You know what I mean? He was very fun. Like since we got there, we went to go drink that first day. We went to go get a drink after the first rehearsal. We went to a bar. We got a little drink. We didn't get drunk or anything like that. It was just real fun. We were talking about his life, and I was asking him about his dad. You know, because when do you get to ask about Pepe Martinez? You know what I mean? Senior. Is somebody that a lot of mariachi musicians look up to, even like now, you know, because of his beautiful writing. He had, I think, some of the most beautiful arrangements for mariachi. His violin writing was so beautiful, and you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, he was like the trademark for so long there, you know. Yeah. And rest in peace.
So you mentioned right now how you feel like when you know you had that Houston. The opera, that was kind of the moment where you were like, all right, this is for real, you know, this is a thing. I mean, what were your emotions at that time? Did it kind of feel like, you know, after so many years, I'm sure you've had many downs and ups where maybe you felt like this in a rough spot and this music's not cutting it out, but you still kept through it. And then you get to that moment, you get to that opera, you get that gig, and then you kind of feel like it was meant to be.
Yeah, you could say that. Like, I think everyone has like points where they feel like you're not really going anywhere. You know what I mean? Or you feel not really going anywhere, but you feel stagnant, like you haven't moved. You know what I mean? And yeah. I think the opera was one of those things that made me feel like we're moving. We're moving, yeah.
And so this past year, I mean, what was that like with the lockdown and the pandemic? Were you still playing? Were you still doing gigs?
Yeah. I stopped playing for a month. And that's when I was still in Edinburgh. I had been doing Mariachi Sagas. I did Mariachi Sagas for about 2 semesters. I was over there in Edinburgh. Pancho had called me, and he was like interested in me going over there, and I was like, I'm interested in being in that group, you know, because it's I think Mariachi Sagas is one of the best groups in the country, like you know what I mean, like for university level musicians, and even all around musicians.
Even past that, man. I mean,
yeah, they're really good. So I was just I wanted to be a part of that legacy, and maybe not legacy, but more of that chapter of their career. You know what I mean, or their not career, but their story.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter of their story, and I got to do that. I got to do some fun things with them. Went to Vegas. I went to do workshops in Vegas. I got to do some concerts with Ada Cuevas, and you know, it was cool. I got to do some requintos with Ada Cuevas on, like, being in front of the stage, in front of everyone, and just doing it. And I felt like I was like finally doing something. Also, I mean, just moving forward, you know, as a musician, and being able to do those things and not be nervous and just go play.
I got the chance to see you during Festiva. And by the way, you guys sounded badass, man. It was really cool. Personally, like, seeing you up there, you know, as you know, I consider you my friend.
Yeah, we're bros.
We haven't seen each other in a while, but you are my friend, and it was really neat seeing you upstage, up there and everything. I'm like,
appreciate that. Yeah.
Had a tear coming.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And it's always great seeing my friends too. Like, I mean, like you, and remember, I think we hung out a little bit at the after party with Sol de Mexico.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was cool. We got to jam, and I think it was just a great time.
Chill. Yeah,
just a great time.
Yeah, but it was really cool seeing you up there with Mariachi Sagas.
Mm-hmm. But going back to your question, I had. It was during the semester, and I think nobody was going to school. I think it was already like no contactless or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I stayed in Laredo for like a month. I didn't do anything. I think I was practicing. I was just practicing and getting fat in Laredo. Yeah, because I gained like 10, 15 pounds in Laredo. Just because it was just like, you're not doing anything. You're just home and like quarantined and lockdown, and you're just eating and bored.
Hey, but the food in Laredo is good, man.
Yeah, but
and your mama's cooking is
yeah. That's what happened. That's what happened, and it was just like it was a big thing, and but that's when I moved. After that, I think the big move was I moved back to the area because I started gigging over here in Austin with Capital. And I moved in with Gino and Mariachi Azteca de America. He's my boss there, and he gave me a room there. So I started staying with Gino, and it's been great. It's been great, and yeah, I know I mentioned all these names, but Mariachi Azteca de America is a group in San Antonio, and they're a big group.
They're a good group.
Good group, yeah.
So I want to get back to a little bit about Aslan, because I was going to ask about that. So Pancho was on Vihuela for a little bit. How was that like? Could he still tear it up?
He was a little rusty, but he's always been a very good armonia, and he got on Vihuela because I sang a lot, and he was just like, he's like, you can play Vihuela, but like, I want you to. I ended up playing Vihuela eventually because I always end up playing Vihuela somehow, like, even if I don't want to, because like, I mean, I don't not love Vihuela. Vihuela's awesome, but like, I really like guitar. I really always loved guitar.
But do you even practice Vihuela, man?
No, like, honestly, I don't.
Because your chops are crazy still good.
Because I play Vihuela like every weekend. Yeah. There's like it's like practice during gigs, and I'm just like, okay.
I'm practicing like every day, struggling to save my life, dude. This guy doesn't even practice. Let me see that. Tearing it up,
I just get it, and but I play like almost every day. It's not even just weekends. It's almost like every day. So you're practicing vihuela almost every day, even if you're not really practicing, I guess.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're just practicing your wrist and just getting moving or whatever, you know. But
he was on vihuela. Pancho was.
Yeah, Pancho got on vihuela, and we were doing that for a while, and it was cool to play with him. You know what I mean? Because not a lot of people have gotten like the chance to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, he was a vihuela player for Aslan back in what, like the 90s?
And he was a vihuela player for Los Arrieros when Los Arrieros were like, you know, like like even now Los Arrieros have always been an amazing group. You know, they always sound really good at concerts and stuff like that. They're good musicians. But if back then, you know, and there's some videos of them playing, and it's like it's freaking awesome. And Pancho was ripping it on vihuela, you know, so he has a lot of knowledge. So it was cool playing with him.
Is that rivalry still alive with Arrieros and Siete Leguas?
I didn't know too much about it. I never really gigged over there.
No,
with them. I got a few offers sometimes, like to go gig with Arrieros, but I never. I wouldn't just because sometimes I would already be committed to work over here, and it'd be like 6 hours over here, and then they have like 2 hours over there. So I'd be like,
go follow the money, man.
Yeah, well, I had to at that point, not because, but I did always want to have a chance to play with them.
Well, when you got to Aslan, you know, you made the group, you're in there. Was it what you expected? I mean, the rehearsals, the performances?
Yes and no. The rehearsals weren't all what I expected, but at the end of it, like the performances were really good. Yeah, the rehearsals weren't as crazy tight as I thought they were going to be, but the violin section always sounded really good. And the armonía, we would get together, like me and Peter. It was me, Pedro. His name is Pedro, but I called him Peter, and Rudy. Guitarron, and we would get together and we would have armonía sectionals, and
that was a good section.
Yeah, we try to like Peter's so good at guitar.
He is, man.
I think
I've played with him a couple of times.
I think rhythmically, I think Peter's probably the best guitar player I've ever played with, and he's really young.
Yeah,
yes.
He's probably the best rhythmic guitar player I've played with.
The guy's got some chops.
He don't sing.
He plays really well. Yes, yeah, he plays really well, and I've told him that. He plays really well. Mm-hmm.
He just don't sing.
Yeah, he just doesn't sing.
Told him, I'm like, dude, you gotta sing.
Yeah.
But so when you all got together for like sectionals, was it kind of like your Texas State days where, you know, you, Robert, Joe, Frank get together, kind of sit around, be like, all right, let's practice. All right, now let's watch TV.
No, we would legit practice. We legit practice, and you know what? A lot of that Texas State was because of immaturity, I guess. Just at the time, I didn't have that mindset of like really trying to get things done, you know.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get things done there and just go over things, and not that the guys didn't, because Joe Frank sometimes would want to do stuff, and Robert too, and you know, I've had good sectionals with Robert Casillas. We've had like, because with Azteca, we try to sound good when we play with them and stuff, you know, for sure.
You wanna bless our listeners with some of your talent? Sing a song, play some.
What do you guys want to hear?
Tunes. And you know them all.
It's true. Okay. I'm trying to think of one. I got a few favorites that I like hearing you sing, man. Honestly, man. But I'm trying to choose one. I don't know. What are you feeling? Bolero?
You know what? Some Armando Manzanero for some
Armando Manzanero.
passing.
See, what's a good one? There are a lot of good ones, but let's see. Just a little piece.
Yeah.
There's a song he does. It's called El Ciego. It's called let's see. ¿No has visto cómo pierde su alegría? Una fuente ya vacía porque el agua le faltó. Es la cosa más triste de este mundo y así me siento yo por ti, solo por ti. Yeah, that's a good one. I like
Hell
He
yeah,
does.
man.
That one's called El Ciego.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the-
Let me see if I get this right on the first try.
What?
Oh, I should turn this off.
Hell yeah,
There you
man.
go.
Yeah, man. One of his older songs.
I mean,
That was good, man.
you're a pretty big fan of Javier Solis, aren't you?
Yeah.
What is some of that old school Javier Solis that you got?
Let's see. What's a good one for Javier Solis? Renunciación, Payaso. Do you guys like Payaso?
Yeah, all those, man.
But there's a lot of good
You
ones.
know, Cataclysm.
¿Qué pasará si tú me dejas? Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know that one too good. Not the words. I guess. Have you guys heard? Let's see. It's a good one. See, when you think of songs, now you're like,
Yeah, dude,
You
you're
get
going
into
through
the-
your playlist.
yeah, there's a lot of really pretty songs that he does.
You don't know is it called? I think Mi Último Bolero.
Último Bolero. Let me see. What's a good Javier Solis song? Or what's Tu Voz? Pero al mirar la realidad, mi alma llora. Tú ya no estás. ¿Por qué? Oigo tu voz que me dice te espero, pero al mirar la realidad, tu voz, tu voz, tu voz.
Hell yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Tu voz is a beautiful song.
I was like looking. I was like, dude, fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
That's where it's at,
Are
man.
you okay, man?
Creative Studios.
You
Yeah, I'm
good?
tearing up a little bit.
You-
Man.
You looking a little warm.
Dude, yeah, man. You got me, man. You got me in my feelings, man.
So with that, you were a vocal finalist, right?
Mhm.
For Mariachi Vargas. When?
Yeah, since my I had actually made vocal finalist my my senior year in high school. Yeah, I had made it in the high school division, which is kind of hard. I like for people here like now and stuff. I don't know if it was hard back then if I got in, right? But but I think it was still challenging and stuff like that. And yeah, I just I got in, but I didn't go that year because again I was really into the band program and I had area auditions for the band.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to audition that year. And then I auditioned 2 more times, and I had made it both those times too. Kingsville and then Laredo. Yeah. And then I didn't audition anymore.
Did you place?
I placed one of the years.
Dang.
Yeah, I think it was when I did Volar.
Oh,
Or La Barca. It's one of those. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. Yeah, I placed one of those years for sure. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
was that like practicing for it? Was it like a everyday thing? Were you always thinking about it? You're like, I need to get ready.
Honestly, I never really practiced for those too much. You know what I mean? I did want to do good though. It was weird. It was weird. You want to do good, but you don't practice. Yeah.
I guess that's the formula.
Yeah, I guess because I had a lot of stuff going on at the moment with school and especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I never had a teacher either, so it was really hard. I never got any like help with like because a lot of that happens there is also stage presence and being not nervous, and I was always very nervous. Like when I was on stage, I didn't know how to like command the stage, and even now, like I don't say I'm an expert, but I've gotten more experience with doing it with Aslan and doing it with Gino's group, Azteca de America.
The performance.
The performance part of it, and just being more expressive and being able to move and not being like all stiff, and you know.
It is difficult, man. I mean, I can't tell you how hard it was to get out of my shell when I competed. It was horrible, terrible. But I think it was a lot harder too for me. Yeah, exactly.
Like, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot harder.
Gracias, San Antonio. And then you go.
Yeah, dude.
Bye, San Antonio. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even say it in Spanish. I just said bye.
Give me first place. Bye, San Antonio.
Give me please, PK, please.
Please.
My name, Jeff.
No, dude, it was even hard too because I was literally on stage like by myself when I went. Texas State didn't they didn't back me up that year, so they're like, you made it, but you got this. Really, you can do it by yourself. No, so yeah, the performance part is even now it's pretty hard shell to break, but you really gotta practice that, and
for sure.
Making it seem natural, I think, is the hard part for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very happy I did it though. Yeah. It was a good experience, and it gave me like a gateway to being a part of the extravaganza. I got to teach there like all these past years, which was really cool too.
Clinician, man.
Yeah, I got to clinician. Yeah, it was real neat.
Yeah, that's good, man.
So can you count the number of times that you've gone to a gig and you just got torn up because you didn't know nothing?
Honestly, maybe the only times that I felt like that were probably in Kingsville when I was starting with Nuevo Royal and John Vela, when I didn't really know anything, and then in San Antonio when I started with Espuelas de Plata with Vince and them, and that's I learned a lot. I didn't get torn up. Vince and Chunks were very helpful. Like they were very. I never got like a bad like negative experience with them. With Nuevo Royal, I got my. They told me he would tell me I sucked, and like he's like, you need to practice and you suck and all this stuff. You know what I mean? He's like, but like I would get really defensive because like I knew I sang better than them. So it was just like, okay, like I sing better than you, so I don't have to like learn. But you have to learn always. You always have to learn your stuff.
Should never be satisfied.
You should never be like, just because I'm better at you at this doesn't mean like I have to learn this. But you have to learn. You have to learn all the time.
But that goes to speak the type of musician that you are, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are people out there that they're like, no, I know everything. No, and they're satisfied with it.
No, you don't know everything. Yeah. You never know everything. You know, like the songs like that you just said, like, you know what I mean? I really haven't heard them. You know, but like that song that you just said, and stuff like that. That doesn't mean like, oh, you're not gonna look them up and hear them. You know what I mean? So you can learn them. You know, because you're never gonna know everything. But like,
that's the musicianship inside you, man.
Where do you feel though that drive comes? Did you always have that drive for anything, or was it just music? Or
it really is for like music.
Only
like,
music.
And you know what? But I started applying it to like my weight loss and stuff like that. Like recently, you know what I mean? Like you start applying it to the things in your life, and it really helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much have you lost?
Yeah.
I've lost at my peak of losing weight, I had lost 37 pounds.
Man.
Yeah, and I didn't change the way I ate, like hardly. Like I just really exercised a lot. It was just beating yourself up and going to the gym.
Yeah.
And starting to run. Like I was I was running 3 miles a day every day. Yeah.
I can't even run like 3 steps, bro.
And see, like there's people that run more, but like being consistent with like the miles is good. Like it just keeps your rhythm going, and then you run them faster and you run it faster, and just getting to a certain time. You know, you want to get to a certain time.
I don't know how you do it, man. For me, the hard part is you're hungry all the time. How do you?
No, yeah, and just being dedicated with the food, like we said earlier. You just have to be like, you know, like all the stuff we were talking about earlier. Just be like, no, you can't eat that.
No, just
yeah.
Just have someone slap your hand.
Yeah.
If I had the money for that, I would pay somebody to follow me around, and whenever I got something unhealthy,
beat you up.
like, no.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. That's what I tell my my girlfriend. I tell her like, if you see something like in my hand, like that I shouldn't be eating like right now because I'm trying to lose weight again, you know, and get back on my grind. I told her like, tell me not to eat it, or tell me like throw it away or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But how did that feel? How'd your pants feel after 37 pounds? Did you have to buy new pants?
No, I didn't buy new pants. I just had I had to get them closed. Yeah, I had to get them closed.
Dang,
Yeah,
man.
because I went from like almost because I had gotten the biggest I got in was when I did the Houston Opera, because I had been doing 3 things. I had a lot of things going on during the opera. I was doing Aslan, I was doing the opera, and I was doing the Mariachi Sagas de America Christmas concert. So I had all this music to prepare, and I was super stressed, and I was eating a lot and got really fat. I think at my heaviest I was 265. Yeah, it was very heavy. I was really heavy, and I felt really bad about it, and you know what I mean? So when I moved to San Antonio, that's when I got like an initiative. You know what helped me a lot? I got roommates that were very active, like Robert Casillas and Gino. They exercise, and they exercise for the most part a lot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it really got me going. You know, they started going to runs, and they would be like, Isra, vente. And I'm like, nah. I'll make an excuse a day or two, and they'll be like, oh, let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I was like, okay, let's go. And we would go, like they would go in the sun, man. Like, you know, like it would be like, let's go. It was like 100 degrees outside. Let's go.
Shit,
and it would be like running in the sun, and you're
I
like,
don't get how you do that though, man. In the heat. How do you do that?
I would be dying.
Fuck.
And I got super sunburned and stuff like that. But I got it makes your body strong, and it makes you, you know. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember that year we competed in Albuquerque. We talked to Pancho, and Pancho was like, "Who is that guy that was like screaming in the mic, dude?" He's like, "He's too fucking loud."
His gritos.
Yeah, dude.
Did Pancho get kind of bully you for a bit for being proud of Texas State?
Nah, never. He would just with Pancho, it would be a lot of he never said that he didn't like the way I played, but he could tell it was different from how kids from the Valley play. You know what I mean? It's just he liked how they played, because it was very Sol de Mexico, very rhythmic, and how we learned over here in San Antonio. It's kind of sloppy, you know what I mean? It's a little sloppy, like how we get through sones and stuff like that. Yeah. But being there, it got me really into like how Sol de Mexico plays, very rhythmic and very metronic with the sones, you know.
Well, their interpretation, dude. I like their style.
It's
man.
clean.
Armonía.
It's clean. I like the way they play.
Yeah,
I like the way they play. But I also like a fat sound in Armonía too. Like, you know what I mean? Like old Vargas. It sounds dope.
So out of like all the Armonías they have out now, the 5 top groups, who would you select out of the Armonías?
For me, I'm always like my favorite mariachi is Mariachi Vargas.
Mariachi Vargas.
Yeah, dude. They kill it. They kill it. And then and Novoteca.
Yeah, they're pretty tight.
Novoteca sounds great too. I heard a video Pedro put the other day.
Okay.
Where they were playing at Casa de Mariachi, and he was like, "No es por nada, pero mi Novoteca suena chingón," and I was like, "They fucking sound chingón." I was like, "Yeah, they're a fucking badass group."
They are, dude.
Yeah, they're all these big groups are really good. They're very structured, you know.
Oh man,
You got anything else, man?
I've got
You got so much.
I've got.
You know what we haven't gotten into?
3 papers.
It's actually Mariachi Trovadores.
Yeah, we have not.
Your group, man.
Los Trovadores. Yeah, that was
back.
a really pretty stage. Like I thought so. I got a real feel into what it was to be a boss or somebody in charge of a group and stuff like that. You know, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work because you have to keep all these people happy and you have to do all these things, and it's a lot of responsibility. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was cool because the prettiest part of it is because it's like I think the prettiest part of being a director of a group is seeing your musical vision like in fruition. You know what I mean? Like you now you're running a group, and it's kind of like, now if it doesn't sound good, it's because the way you think of music is probably not good. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Or they're not, people aren't, or the people that you have aren't executing it. you know. And I thought Mariachi Los Trovadores sounded good at some points. Like I thought we had a really good group going. At the rodeo, I thought we sounded good. I thought we sounded really well. That time we performed at Mariachi Connection. The one we did it.
I remember that. Yeah.
I thought we sounded good. Also, the time we did the concert in Austin with Carlos Meda.
Yeah.
When we had Angel and
That was
Alex
fun.
and everyone help us, and we were doing Ella, and we were doing all these other songs. You know what I mean? Which was cool. Yamarada, and all these show songs, which is really fun. Yeah, and I mean it was a pretty experience, and I'm glad it happened. Also, Japan. I mean, it's China. We're going to Japan this year. Trying to get something going for Japan this upcoming year, and hopefully we can make something happen. Traveling is the best part I think you can do in your young life. Just do it. You know what I mean? Just travel and experience all these things and get to know people from. I have friends from Ecuador now, like girlfriends and stuff like that are, you know, guy friends from over in Poland, and you know we have them all on Facebook now, and it's cool.
Dang, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And you're so you say you're 26, and I mean, you've traveled a lot. So I mean, do you feel like you go back, you would make any different choices, or you're like no?
No, I love all the travels I've gone to. Yeah, it was great. The biggest travel we had recently was the little tour we did in Europe. We were in Paris, France for 3 days. Then we were in Rybnik and Krakow, Poland. And then we were also in, the last stop was Barcelona in Spain. Yeah, we got to explore the ocean over there, and got into all this trouble, you know, like safe trouble that we weren't, like, it wasn't really trouble, but it was trouble, you know.
No, I know what you mean, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even that unsafe trouble was pretty good.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah, and it's just experiences. You know what I mean? Got to play. You know what I mean? We were playing sones for little Chinese kids. You know what I mean? And they were all happy.
Yeah.
Cielito Lindo for Polish people, and they were singing along with the chorus and stuff, you know. And it was just like, hey, people are getting to see the music we do, and they appreciate it, you know. Because sometimes when we come and play, I'm sure you guys have experienced it, but sometimes when we play at restaurants, even the Mexicanos this is their music, like mariachi, they don't appreciate it.
They don't give a shit.
And they're just like, yeah, like whatever.
No emotion, yeah.
Yeah, but these people hear it and they're like, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You got this, man.
I need a burger, but I need to take one bite and throw it out. It get me through the
only way to do it.
That's what you should do, man.
Dude, I can't do it. To save my life, bro.
You'd be like,
somebody could be holding a gun to my head and be like, if you don't throw that burger out the window, you're gonna die. I'd probably be dead. Like,
you would take that last bite.
dude, I wish I could just devour that burger. Oh my god, I want to go to In-N-Out right now.
Why In-N-Out?
I love In-N-Out, bro.
I don't like their sauce.
Oh, on the.
You don't like In-N-Out sauce?
No.
I love In-N-Out, bro.
I
You
think
know
that's
what?
the best part of In-N-Out.
I'm going tomorrow, by the way. If you guys want to go with JM, we already planned it.
With JM.
Yeah.
JM's in town?
He's coming to town tomorrow. We have a date.
JM.
But thanks. Are we done?
Not yet. So
all right.
you are not even close to being done with your music journey, are you usually?
No, not yet. I still I think one of the big things I want to do next is move to LA. Try to get into a group over there.
That's the move, man. Make some connections.
Yeah. Just I'm still young enough to do it, I think, and just go try my luck over there. I'm also right now I'm trying to this year I really want to focus on violin. Try to start gigging on violin by the end of the year.
Good, man.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Violin is hard.
Yeah, but I want to do it just because so a lot of the reason I learned like some instruments are certain instruments is because like sometimes you go to gigs and you're playing with instrumentalists that like just don't know fills and stuff like that. So I'm just like, I get tired of it sometimes, and I'm just like, oh, I know these fills. Like if I play
do it
violin,
myself.
yeah, I can play these fills. You know what I mean? Like, so I that's why I picked up the violin. Just
like freaking boy.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After what, a year?
Yeah.
And he started doing gigs.
Yeah,
Good job.
He's
got good.
He's just another musician that's he's very talented.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Let's wrap this up. I mean, what are your kind of your short term plans for
Short term? Keep practicing and just keep on rolling, trying to get better, and keep the opportunities coming and stay open to them.
Do you have any plugs?
Any plugs? Check out our CD. It should be out like in July. I'll keep follow me on my social media, and I'll for sure put like links for the CD whenever it comes out. It should be on Spotify, on Apple Music, and yeah.
There you go, guys. Go check it out.
You got anything to say, Matt?
Nothing. Just thanks, bro. I mean, it's been good getting together with you, and I haven't seen you in a while.
For sure, bro.
So,
you wanna?
Thanks for doing this, man.
You wanna play us out as I say our outro? Play anything.
Play the theme song. Vince did it one time.
No,
I don't know.
Play whatever you want, man. If you want.
Some Toy Story.
Dang.
This has been episode 3.
Yep, episode 3.
Episode 3
Keep track
of
now.
Los Mariachi Sagas, season 2.
Season 2.
We want to thank our first guest of the season, Israel Alcalá. And here's Matt and myself. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're on video now.
What's up?
So next week, so this episode should be out Saturday. Next week, you guys will finally most likely get to see the project that we've been working on for a good month now, that I've been trying to get together. And it's finally going to happen. And so that will also be on YouTube. So make sure to follow us to see what that's about. It's going to be really good.
I'm excited.
All right, well, I'll see you guys next week.
See y'all.
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
Mariachi Sagas. Mariachi Sagas.